extraordinaire. If you need me, just think Johnny Wishbone, and I come running.
That's right, everyone. This is Tim of the Online Big Blue, bringing you the best in New York Giants sports talk entertainment. I always come running because it's a Friday, August 5th. We've moved the stream to give away the ticket from August 5th because I forgot it was Fan Fest. I will give a new date coming up soon. Also, we'll be on with the Bad Dog on Tuesday on his channel. I don't know what the time it's going to be. It's really up to him. But when I get more information directly on that, I will pass that along as well. Want to talk about Evan Neal. Want to talk about Matt Gono, who is. He was brought in as an offensive tackle, basically in my mind for offensive line depth. He had neck surgery last year with the Atlanta Falcons, missed all the 2021 season. But of course he signed with the Giants in the offseason. He felt fine during camp, but the problem started to kind of happen and rear its ugly head when they did their first fully padded practice. He started experiencing some symptoms in his neck, and he talked to the team doctors, and they basically said, you know what? He talked to the doctor also to perform the surgery. And that kind of left the door open for him being moved on to the exempt left squad designation earlier in the week, which is for fifth-year players. He's going to go for further testing, but evidently, like I said, it's not looking good for Matt. It's looking like the injury may be career-ending. It's a tough way to go. As a player as a former player myself, whose career ended with 2 consecutive ACL tears, I could tell you, you know what? You always think you can come back. You always think you can. You always think you can make that one last stand, that one last opportunity to be in the sun and to shine, but sometimes the body just doesn't work out. We wish Matt well. We hope that he can continue for the rest of his life without any complications. But you know what, football is always secondary when it comes to when someone's health. The Giants went out and signed Will Holden. We waived Nico. I'm sorry, I've said I love Nico. I just love the name. Holden's a 28-year-old who was drafted in the 5th round by the Cardinals back in 2017. He's with the Cardinals. Then he bounced around to Indianapolis, Miami, Seattle, San Francisco, Baltimore, and Detroit Lions. He had 2 stops with the Cardinals and the Colts. He's appeared in 27 games with 9 starts. He earned the Football Focus grade of 60.8 with his team last year in Detroit, which means nothing, Chris Collinsworth. But you know what? He's going to come in. He's going to try to be a depth piece. He's going to try to be a filler, and that's fine. I want to talk about Evan Neal for a minute because of the fact that there's already concerns in Giants and the Giants sphere that they're already labeling Evan Neal a bust. And I've seen this on, yes, James Williams. I went back on Twitter the other day. I've seen this on Twitter, and it's like, well, he got schooled by the speed rushers such as, Quincy Roche and Kayvon Thibodeau and all these other guys. Oh my God, it's training camp. And these are probably the same people that are defending Daniel Jones, but they're not giving the rookie the same benefit of the doubt when this is his first training camp. He is a work in progress. To me, yes, he is probably one of the most, I would think, pro-ready offensive tackles in this year's draft that came out, especially playing at the right tackle position. I'm not worried about him coming in and being a little bit overwhelmed at points, because anyone that played the sport at a high level understands when you go from high school to college, there is a transition. There is a speed that the game you had never seen before. And after a period of time, that slows down. I can tell you that firsthand. The only problem is I've never, that they say the same thing is with the moving from college to the pros. There's an opportunity where you have to figure out the game. You have to take a look at it and you have to understand. And the game will slow down for him. And that's what's going to happen. And I love it because I look at some of the headlines from if you go through Google or everything else. One headline is looking at Evan Neal's early struggles with the Giants offensive line. Giants have a glaring need at swing tackle. Evan Neal and all of his problems. Evan Neal cap battle with Kayvon Thibodeau. Thibodeau's winning. And I love it because Evan Neal came out and said, no one criticizes himself harder. Criticizes me harder than myself. It's just going to take time. It's a work in progress. If Daniel Jones is a 4-year work in progress, at least let Evan Neal get into a preseason game. At least allow him to play a game. At least allow him to go up against live competition and not just sitting there going, this is what's going on and this is the interest. Now, our biggest concern should be right now the lack of depth in the offensive line. That should be our biggest concern because, like I said, we tried to rebuild this line, but you're probably looking at starters of Andrew Thomas, Shane Lemieux, John Feliciano, Glowinski, and Neal. And you're going to be backed up by Joshua, Douglas, Matt Garcia, maybe Hamilton. You know, there's a bunch of guys that could be backing up, but they're all a bunch of no-name guys. You still got Nick Gates on the pup. You still got Matt Matt from Connecticut on the pup. It's going to be interesting because to me, in some ways I feel there might be more of a lack of depth now than that we had last season. And you have to worry about injuries with Feliciano. You have to worry about injuries with Glowinski in play. You have that rookie starting again at right tackle. You got Shane Lemieux, who's he's never been known for much of a pass blocker. He's been more of a run blocker. But you know what? And plus you got Evan Neal, who's coming off-season ankle surgery, but he looks completely healthy. He looks good. I think, not Evan Neal, Andrew Thomas. I think Andrew Thomas is going to come in and compete. I think Andrew Thomas can come in there and be a hard ass. I think he is going to sit there and really, really, solidify himself maybe as a Pro Bowler this year. I'm not overly concerned right now with backup depth at center because we are going to probably pick up some offensive linemen once we cut down to 53. Once the league cuts down to 53. So you're going to, and I've said this before, the guys that make the 53-man roster today, I'm going to say this right now. If you made the not today, but when camp breaks, and if you have made the 53-man roster and you are in the last 7 spots, I would not feel comfortable because I think the Giants will make wholesale changes with those last 7 spots on this roster in reference to people being waived. And I think that's what we're going to have to keep an eye on. I think this roster in some ways is going to look different than it did from when it first started, when they first came into camp, because I think they're just going to have the understanding that, we're going to need additional talent. We're going to need different additional things coming up. And I'm not, like I said, I'm not overly, I've said this many times, I'm not overly concerned about this year. I hope to God we win more than 5, but if we don't win more than 5, I'm okay. I'm good. Because I'm just going to enjoy, James Williams said it best, I'm going to enjoy this. I'm going to take a look at it, and I'm going to have fun this year because you know what? If we win over 5 games, everything is going to be gravy. And I think that's the way we need to look at this. We need to look at this as a building year, as the year that we're putting together the foundation and moving forward. And hopefully this is a transitional draft that we had in 2022, and these are going to be the building blocks for 2023. Like I mentioned before, we're going to have the stream sometime after August 5th. I haven't picked the date yet. I'll let everyone know. No, we're going to be giving away that Coaches Club ticket to hang out with James Williams, myself, Dahmer, and OGR Sports. That's going to be for the August 21st preseason game. Don't forget, we got the preseason game rapidly approaching this coming up Thursday, or next Thursday, because I guess we're still in the week. And again, this is Tim with Online Big Blue. We're bringing you the best of New York Giants sports talk and entertainment. And as always, if you could like, subscribe. If you're ringing that bell, you know what it means. That'd be awesome.